It should be on the Facebook page. All right. So we are live on StreamYard. Welcome to Hannah's Corner. Thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in now or later, featuring women in jazz, women of the music industry, monthly on Thursdays. So tonight we are joined by Ashleigh Smith, who's a multi-genre Dallas-based vocalist, composer, recording artist, and 2014 winner of the Sarah Vaughan International Vocal Competition. Her two records, most recently In the Rain EP and then Sunkissed from Topcat and Concord respectively, are infused with elements of jazz, R&B, soul funk, and bossa. So we got it all going on, and she makes it work, and it's beautiful. So feel free to join in StreamYard. We're trying something a little bit different. Zoom wasn't really giving us the best audio, so we're going to give StreamYard our, a spin and see how it goes. So here we even have funky welcome banners, so that's really cool. So how this will work is, look at that. It's like we're on TV, right? We're on like MSNBC, and there's that breaking news alert on the bottom of the screen. So you as the viewer can tune in very easily by merely clicking in the link on my Facebook page. It will blow up in your browser. And then you can leave us a comment at any time. It's really simple. You'll see on the right-hand side, there's a place for you to type your comment. And then it will appear something like this with your Facebook profile picture and your comment. Put it up on the screen or not. And we'll go from there. So Ashleigh, welcome. Great to have you here tonight.
Thanks for having me, Hannah. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for taking some time. I know this is a very hectic time in our lives, so I appreciate you carving out some time to talk about your work and your creativity.
Absolutely. I would love to. Anything music-wise, I'm always here for.
Likewise. So I want to play a bit for people, just a little bit of a really cool music video that So Far Sounds did in Dallas. And while I'm getting it set up, maybe you can just give us a little bit of background about your tune, Best Friends.
Absolutely. So Best Friends was written in 2015, 16. I wrote with a friend of mine named Joel Cross. And it was a very personal song. I was kind of at a point, I was in a long-term relationship, and you get to this point where you're trying to figure out if you're there because you're still in love with the person, or you're there because you're just used to it, and who wants to start over after 5 years, and who wants to do that, and all this. I was graduating college. It was just a very transition-y time for me.
Yes.
And so I called Joel, and he was like, we got together, and the song was pretty much already written. I just needed to finish the bridge, and he came in, and of course, Joel now plays for NDRE and writes for her. He's a phenomenal guitarist and vocalist and songwriter. And we really kind of finished it in like an hour and a half. It was very quick. I was kind of in a Stevie mode. I'm always in a Stevie Wonder mode. He's one of my favorite, biggest influences, I would say, songwriting-wise. And it just kind of came. It was catchy. And I knew that it was going to be like the single, because the next day, Joel was like, I'm still singing Best Friends. I was like, yes, stuck in your head. That means that that's it. That's always a sign.
Yes,
it's good.
Got it.
If you're still singing it. Yes.
Cool. So we're going to go ahead and play a little bit. And hope the audio sounds good. Everyone let us know how the StreamYard is your new favorite, because it's definitely Zoom needs some competition. We all need some healthy, democracy here. You don't want any monopolies, right? We already have Google and Amazon and Facebook.
Absolutely. So. Diversify the streaming platform.
All the way. All right, here we go. This is In the Rain. Check this out too. All right, we're going to check out. I played you the wrong one, but that's okay. Here it is.
Oh, there's Best Friends.
Yeah. And the cool thing is we can talk too during this. I believe they can hear us. Well, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Check in the StreamYard box.
Fun fact, I was
so vibey.
7 months pregnant during this performance.
Aw, pregnant and glowing.
And that's Joel right there, actually, on guitar.
Do you remember when this love affair began? We met on the way to the start. We laughed and kissed and play, talk and stay up late, wrapped up in your love and your arms. Lately it seems we have drifted apart. Talk with our mouths, but still silent. With our hearts, feels like the love's only begging you. How we get here? I remember we used to be best friends, best friends, best friends, best friends. Oh baby, best friends, yeah, best friends, best friends, best friends.
Yeah.
This distance I don't understand. We can't communicate and seem to get straight. With love and anymore again. You say you love me and that I know it's true. You can't agree on what you say, what you do.
Yeah.
You're like a stranger that I don't believe. How we get here? I remember we used to be best friends.
Yeah.
Best friends.
Great groove.
Best friends. Best friends. Oh baby, best friends. Yeah. Best friends. Best friends. Best friends. What happened to the island?
Yeah.
The late night ones we just listened to. The simple things you used to care. I see your face when you're not there. Never thought we would sit. Hey, hey, hey. Why can't we get back to being best friends? Best friends.
Tasty.
Best friends. Best friends. Oh baby, best friends. Best friends. Best friends. Best friends. Break it down. You say best friends.
Friends. Sing along. Best friends.
Oh yeah, I love that part.
You can sing with it. Let's sing with it.
And then that whole part we go.
One more. Best friends.
There you go.
Woo. Friends.
There you go.
Come on, everyone. You can sing along with it. Best friends.
Absolutely. Let's go. It's just 2 words.
Best friends.
There you go.
Best friends. Best friends.
Yeah, girl. That's it.
Yeah. Infectious. It's good. Best friends. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Woo. Yeah. Love it. I feel like I'm right there.
Thank you.
Live. That's awesome. That's awesome. These productions are super cool. My
Thank you.
friends
That
have
was a fun show.
told me about them over the years, and it's cool
Have
to
you
see
done
them.
it so far before?
I have a friend who's like, you should totally do it when it come through, and I haven't. I don't think. I missed them when they came through, but something to look forward to.
They're
and maybe
super
next
fun. Yeah. Whenever COVID unleashes his grip on everybody, but yes, they're
Good
really
way to
fun,
put
very
it.
intimate, and it's cool. Like where they do them. Like that was in a cool historic district at like Fort Worth. It's like a suburb of Dallas, and it was and it's cool because you never know. The people don't know who they're gonna get when they come there. They just come, and then they're like, oh yeah, like so they send out these invites, and they send the address the day of. They only accept a certain amount of people, and people literally like will volunteer to be host, and you'll show up, and they'll just make whatever the environment is, and you'll come in, and that'll be it. It's super cool.
I love it. I love it. I like how they show people's reactions too, like in the moment, how they're like vibing out. That's cool. That's cool.
Oh yeah, it's fun. And then like at the end, you get like a cool little video. Like they do that for one of the songs when you perform, so you'll get one. It's really cool. And they do them everywhere, like London, New York, LA. They all have their own little so far scene. So it's super cool.
Very cool. Very cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about let's back up to Sunkissed. It's a beautiful, beautiful album. And I just love the sounds and that you wrote like 3 or 4 songs on there that are beautiful. And then you did something cool too. You I know we were talking before about some of the influences from the 70s. And some of the kind of like, unexpecteds from a jazz artist like Daryl Hall, you know, and Sarah Smiles, which is
right.
So, because you're appealing to a lot of people like in my family who are like been around through the, you know, grew up in the 60s, 70s, you know, and they have so much of that influence. That's cool.
Right. Absolutely. You know, that was kind of only natural for me to do. Because that's just literally what I grew up on. That era is, you know, my family is a family of musicians. My dad listened to everything, and so I kind of grew up listening to everything. And so it's kind of like I view music as very much lacking genre. It's just kind of like it's good, either it's good or it's not. And if it's good, do it. You know,
do it.
And doing a cover about a song like that is always interesting, because when you do a cover of an artist who's still alive, first off, then you run the risk of like, oh, if they hear it, they're gonna be like, oh, this is garbage. It's, you know, and then too, when you do a classic like that, which is why the arrangement, which Nigel Rivers, the bass player on the album and the co-producer of the album, it was a good arrangement because it still stayed true to like what people originally loved about the song. Same with Blackbird, but with just an added influences with the R&B and the jazz side of it, but like the core of the song is still the core. And I think that's why people still love it, because it's like, oh, this is still the song I love, just put with a different border around it, basically. But the core of it is still there.
Yeah, so you just changed enough. Yeah, and then I wonder if he invited you to Daryl's house yet when he heard it. I'm sure you'll be on there next.
No, but that would be so cool. I would be so. I think they heard it. I don't really know though. That would be awesome though.
Yeah, it would be. That would be great. That's cool. But no, I hear you. You know, just changing the cover enough to where it's like just you add your own flair, your own spin, but like the gist is there, which I think you really accomplished with your track.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some of my favorites. You know, it's still weird to listen to yourself, but I do from time to time. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but if I hadn't have done that song, I would still listen to it. I would still listen to it. So
there you go. You go. That's great. No, it's a beautiful, beautiful record, and I think your sound comes through on every song. And again, my next question is about your sound, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started, but. Tell us a little bit about your perspective on sound and how you think it's difficult for promoters maybe to market you because you have a nuanced, rich sound, but why fans maybe like it. Maybe talk about that dichotomy.
Absolutely. So promoters or booking agents or the like thereof, they have a hard time because for people who the general public needs categories. And I don't think it's always been that way. I think in recent years, because of the state of the music business, they've kind of made it that way. So the general public doesn't know how to hear something unless they can put it in a box. They have to be able to say it's country. They got to be able to say it's R&B. They got to be able to say it's gospel. And if they can't, it's almost like their brain does this weird, like, I don't know how to process this because it's more than what I feel like it should be if it's in this genre. And so booking agents and promoters they feel like that makes their job hard because they don't know where to put you. Do we put you in a Smalls or a Blue Note or club, you know what I'm saying? Or do we put you you know, at like in Dallas, a Kessler, like a theater, or do we put you in an arena? You know what I'm saying? Or do we put you overseas? They don't know where to put you. And where they would view that as a hard job, I think it makes the job easier because I feel like you can put me anywhere.
There you go. Yeah,
that's what I think. Sure. That's what I initially like. That should be easy. You could put me anywhere. It'll be fine, right? But they don't view it that way. And I have this theory that the level of expectation for listeners has been lowered now, so the average listener cannot digest what they used to, because I mean, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, I mean, they were, artists were doing songs in complex meters and all kinds of changes, and they were pop songs, and people were singing them, and they were navigating the changes, and that
Right.
was, and people will usually rise to the occasion. And now we've gotten to the point where if you have more than 2 chords, it's too much. It's like, oh my God, you gotta take it down. It's like, it's only 2 chords. Oh my God, like it has more than 3 sections or more than 1 section. People don't know what to do. Oh my God, it's weird. And because now people have just kind of conformed to that, they don't know how to hear anything else. Anything else confuses them. And so at the end of the day, I get it. It's a business, and booking agents they want to make money. But
Right.
I had this weird theory that like it's circling back around. Like people will rise to whatever you put in front of them. If you make the pop music, the stuff with 3 sections and harmonies, people will get to that and they'll like it. But if you feed them, 808 in a loop, that's all they'll ever be able to digest. And I have another theory because I'm also an educator, where I feel like it's kind of made this generation a little less likely to do like complex thinking or being able to, think long term or just decipher, because they don't have to. Everything is very to them. Everything is social media. It's quick. I got this.
Yes.
It's quick. It's very quick. Everything is quick. The song is quick. Even when the song listen to, they kind of drone out. It's like it's just a drone. It's like a one sound. And that's what they hear. You know, and even in my classes, if I play something with real instruments, like, some of the kids have no idea what those are. Like, what? Huh? And you're like, wow, but that's the thing. Yeah, like, why? You didn't just go to the computer, you know what I'm saying? Like, producers now don't have to do music. Yeah, they hit buttons. And that's not to degrade the art of producing. That's not what I'm saying. They're great producers, phenomenal producers. You know what I'm saying? But there's definitely a bigger gap in producers that now literally all they have to do is press a button. They can make it sound anything. They don't know what they're playing, or what I'm saying, but they can just press a button. And that's kind of what people expect now. They expect it to be quick and not hard for them to process, And so I kind of think that's where I kind of found myself in like this middle, like, what is she? Anomaly, like nobody like knows. And I used to kind of think I wanted I think I kind of wanted to like initially fight that, but then I don't think I would be happy. I don't think if I was writing songs that were, stuck in a genre, I think I'd be upset. I don't think my fans would like it either. I think they'd be like, this is not what we fell in love with. And I'd be like, well, you're right. It's not even what I like to write. So I just kind of have to feel like it's a marathon, not a race. It's a slow burn,
There we go.
But I'd rather the slow burn and like what I'm putting out. I'd much rather the slow burn and like what I'm putting out. So you're going to get a mix of everything when you hear me, because that's what I grew up with. My dad was playing Twinkie and, Tiki Clark and the Clark Sisters and AC/DC and Sarah Vaughan and Jimmy Smith and, Michael W. Smith and the contemporary, like, that's just everything I listen to. So I don't have a one sound thing. And I don't think any of the artists that I listen to don't have that,
Yeah.
They have,
because you mentioned like India RE. Right. Yeah. She's the one that just
the album with Joe Sample was great.
Killing. Yeah.
It was awesome. And then her original stuff is awesome. Carmen McRae has an R&B album that she did like, I think, like 70, and it was great. And then she has, Live at the Blue Note, which was also, I'm saying, that they're all great. I don't see one over the other. I just kind of wish she'd get back to that, where it was just like, do you like it or do you not like it? Don't ask what it is. Do you like it or do you not like it? If you like it, cool.
Then buy it and pay the artist the money for it. Don't
if you like it, then buy it. If you like it, you buy it. Don't stream it. Buy it.
That's a whole other conversation we can go down.
It's a whole other conversation, right?
Yeah. Cool. So where do you think, this is just a question I ask a lot of people who fall into that kind of territory where it's like you carve out your own space. Who do you think your listener, or who are your fans? Are they going to be people like 30 and up, 20 and up? Like, where do they fall?
It's weird. I always thought they'd be older. I always thought it would be kind of like, 30 and up. But there's been a lot more younger people than I thought, which has been surprising.
Okay. Yeah.
Pleasantly surprising, but it has been surprising. And that's why I say I think the tides are changing a little bit. But I'll still say majority is older. Majority is 30 and up. Majority is 30 and up. But there are a lot of 20s and 18s sprinkled on, like a lot more of them coming in, which I like. I appreciate. But I'm appreciative of any audience if you're, and that's the thing. Like, I don't make the music that would have to, like, if a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old listen to my music, they wouldn't be like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't, it's really across all the ages. There's no reason anybody won't like it,
Yeah. Well, that's good. That means there's hope for the younger generations, right? They're not all cyborg tuning into EDM.
No. And they're coming around. They're coming. Coming around the mountain. Slow return, but they're coming around. Yeah. Slow return, but they're coming.
So I want to ask you, I am looking at one of my banners because I was a talking point I wanted to ask you about. Tell me a little bit about Anita Baker. So she's huge influence, love her stuff, and she actually knows your music.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that.
Right, which is random. So, I always say that Twitter is the superior social media app, and here's why. It's much more of a stream of consciousness, because you can actually have conversations on Twitter. Like, Instagram is a picture, and you might have a conversation underneath the picture, but it's not going to be a full-on, engagement. Twitter is very stream of consciousness. Like, people just tweet what they're thinking, and then you can have a little short banter, and then that's it. And that's originally what happened. Somebody else tweeted about an Anita Baker song that they felt wasn't getting the shine it was worth. The song, the classic, right? One of those B-sides that the musicians loved and the general audience skipped over, type of thing. And I tweeted about having done one of her songs called Good Enough in college. I transcribed it and did it for one of our forum groups, or our little class we had to do, a performance class. And she responded to that tweet. So we have oh, I'm so happy you love the song. Oh no, you're my favorite, huge influence on me. I've been listening to you forever. Totally having a fan girl moment. Oh my God. And then a couple hours later, I guess she probably was like, that's interesting. She's a singer. Let me see what she listens to, right? And then she, I guess, clicked on In the Rain and then tweeted about that. And I was just like, oh my God, and the message being was like, oh, I love your stuff. But and those moments are always really cool, because when they happen, it's kind of a full circle moment where you're like, oh man, when somebody that you grew up admiring then tells you they like your artwork, it's a very I'm doing something right. Oh my God. A kind of not that you need validation, but we all want it. It helps. Need it, but it's nice. It helps to hear that people that you grew up wanting to emulate. And I mean, Anita was one of my first different voice types that I fell in love with, because her voice isn't like anybody else's. And I always felt like that was me, because I never had and this is gonna sound not even do the whole racial thing, but I didn't have this huge gospel-y that a lot of my friends had. And that sound always a little softer and a little more mellow and whatever. But I used to feel really insecure about that. I was like, it's not, I did. It was a thing. I'm cool. I love it now, but it took me a while to get super comfy. And she was one of the first voice types where I was like, oh, that's different. It was different. It wasn't the typical sound that you would think. And it was oh, okay, so people do different voices. Cool, because the variety is less than it used to be. So if you look at it and you don't have that particular voice type, then you're kind of in an awkward space. But I think I've always kind of been in the awkward space musician-wise, even with the genre, having 5 different sounds in one. And it's kind of a space I've just kind of gotten used to being in, which is fine. It's all fine.
Of course it's fine. I mean, I think Concord thinks it's fine too. Labels. Yeah, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing,
which is cool.
Heck yeah,
cool. We won't stop at that. We're happy that they think it's cool. Yeah.
And it is one of those weird times, right, where it's did you have to make that decision where you're I'm going to sign, or I'm going to stay independent, or are you an independent? How does that work?
So now I'm independent. So I, when I won the Sarah Vaughan competition, then after that was when I got approached about doing the contract with Concord, which was phenomenal. Everyone I worked with at Concord was phenomenal, life-changing, changed my life, wonderful. And then I took the independent journey after that. And the independent journey has also been great. in different ways. You definitely have to learn all the ins and outs when you're doing it yourself, like all the little that you don't see when you're on the major side because somebody's doing it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like they just tell you,
Right.
hey, send me these pictures and then we're going to make this whole press release. And then on the indie side, you got to make the press release. Like you have to make the press release. You have to decide what goes out to the public. You have to decide when's the campaign going to start? Is the campaign going to include a music video? How much, then you're doing all the budgeting and you're having to do it. While it's stressful, it's cool to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because once you do it, you make a bunch of mistakes, but you learn a bunch of lessons. And I think the payoff too is better too because it's yours. Like there's no one telling you have to do this at this time or you have to do it this way. Again, you make a bunch of mistakes and that comes with it. But I think the gratification you get after you've done it and you know the ins and outs. And that's not to say that I would never go back to a label, but I think doing it independently, at least for a little bit, is great. Then you have a greater appreciation for the label when you go back.
You're like, now I know what you did.
Actually took to do that. Yeah, because if you don't know that, I mean, my first album experience was on a label. So that was my first, which isn't normally people's first. They put out an EP or something before and then they go to label, but my first thing was on a label. So
you got it.
I kind of retrograde having to be like, oh, okay, so this is what they were doing when all that was happening. I didn't see all those little moving pieces, but then that's what was happening. So
cool.
It's been cool. So I would even say it's like an indie verse. They're different, and I think the experience of having them both is great. But indie is cool because you can, you tell yourself you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Do
it yourself. And that's what a lot of people are doing now. And they're realizing you see like the albums breaking apart and kind of where it's all in our hands now, which it's mixed, right? Because it puts more on us, less time for us to do our creative thing, but yet gives us more freedom.
You got to do the business side.
Yeah. It's a balance. And then how are you making it all work and you're a mom? Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
How my girl,
How are you doing it
right now? The kids are yelling. Their father is back there keeping them from running in here because if not, I guarantee you, they would have run it. No, it's my balance, man, and just be easy on yourself. Like there are some days where that write up didn't get done, and I'll do it tomorrow. It's a lot of that, especially during this time. A lot of time management and a lot of grace with yourself. That's how. Yes. And perspective. You kind of have to give yourself, because you have to have time. You have to make time to be a mom and be fully focused on that, and then have time to be. So I have to be very intentional about like setting time aside to do those things, and it works. And sometimes it doesn't. There's some days where it's just like none of that worked. Sorry, try again tomorrow, and that's also totally fine as well. It's a lot like the independent journey. Like, sometimes it works and then sometimes it's a flop. And you're like, okay, learn that lesson. I'll do that again, Yeah. I mean, what else can you say? Try it again, we'll try again, and then we'll try again. And then we'll try again. And one of them will work. And that's just kind of the song and dance. I think once you take the pressure off yourself for it to be like, it has to be, because I'm kind of a perfectionist in that way. Yeah, to a point where it can get annoying. But because then it's like, okay, it's never going to be completely perfect. It's never going to be completely done. Nothing you can do about that.
Oh, well. Yeah. And then my favorite part is you think you're done, and then you give it to someone else and they make it better, they change it. And that's the thing with collaboration, which is
so cool. Yeah, right. Because there's only so much your ears will hear. Right. Collaboration is the name of the game in this day and age, You get your earline, you hear, and they hear something totally different, and now it's and but you wouldn't have known that unless you take your hands off of it and say, okay, I'm done with it. Now you see what you can do because I'm done.
Yeah,
a lot of that happening. So
and speaking of collaboration,
the balancing motherhood thing is almost like the same as the independent. Yeah,
the balance. But I was just going to, speaking of collaboration, tell me a little bit about how Shantae Khan, your friend, got involved with In the Rain, how that collaboration came to be.
Yeah, so Shantae is a really good friend of mine, and I call her my sunshine sister. We call each other that just because you meet some people sometimes and you just click. You're just like, oh, this totally should work. It worked. And that's kind of how she and I were. And we kind of circled around each other. Like I would have a show, or she would have a show. We'd never be in the same city, or it just kind of would revolve around each other. And then she happened. I wrote the song, and I wrote all the words, only it was on me. And then I was like, it's not done. I feel like it needs something. Don't know what it is, but it needs something. And so then I was like, I think I want to have Shantae on the song. It just kind of came to me. I think I might have been texting her one day or something. And then it was like, okay, so now I got to get time to, I'm in Dallas. She was in Atlanta, trying to get it to work. And it literally worked out that she had a show in Dallas last minute. And I was like, in the indie thing, you're always crunching, saving money whenever you can. So I was like, you can just stay with me. That's no less hotel bill. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the indie struggle. We all know that, right? And I was like, oh, I have an extra room in my house. Come on. So they stayed with me. Her and the manager stayed with me the whole time they were there, 3-4 days. And so that happened to be like, I remember I called Joey, the engineer who works at the studio that I record at. And I was like, hey, can you do a session at 11 p.m.? And he was like, yeah. And so we literally came in and sung that probably in 2 or 3 takes because I had to. She was finally there. We got it. It was kind of like one of those little match made in heaven. Everything just kind of aligned at one time for it to be there. And she was definitely the missing thing. I admire her so much. Her talent is great. She's a really good friend. But I was a fan before we were friends. And so it was kind of like a full circle moment. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was cool. And she definitely added a lot to the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her tone is just, so sunshiny and magical when she sings. Yeah, definitely.
I wanna play a little bit while we're talking about it.
Of course.
Because it's a beautiful song. I had it up before, and now we can hear it. Here we go. Here's an excerpt.
Make your way somewhere.
That's cool. So are you both singing kind of in and out?
Mm-hmm. So we kind of just sung on top. Yeah. So we did the ad-libs at the same time and kind of just fed off each other. And that's what they came out to. So it was cool. And when we sung, because that was the first time we had sung together, and Joy was like, oh, y'all's voices sound so like they just kind of fit. Hers is very light, mine's a little heavier, and they kind of just meshed really well together. It was like, oh, yes, it was meant to happen. Kind of moment.
Meant to be. There's some synchronicity going on.
Yeah, one of those moments. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The synergy was there. It's happening. Right. Absolutely.
And always the best collaborations come from those, I find. Just where you don't even plan, they just happen. Right time, right moment, right place, and then you got to hit.
Like, let's go with it. Yeah, literally.
Nice.
That's nice. The most organic ones and the ones that had the most energy. Yeah.
Totally. Are you? What's on the horizon, and how has kind of COVID impacted your writing, and what's going on right now?
A lot. I actually have a studio session tomorrow to finish the next single, and then another one next week to finish writing a couple more songs in the EP. So the EP actually was an EP. Now it's kind of turned into 8 or more, so that kind of constitutes an album. So, but that'll definitely be done by like March, April. So I've been trying to make the best use of this time while we're here. But that's really been it. Just a lot of good stuff. We have a lot of good music coming out that's really cool. I'm really proud of it.
Exciting.
Even if like 5 people like it, I'm happy with that because I like it.
More than 5 people are going to like it. I'm safe to say that. Got a pretty solid track record.
But I mean, I hope so. But, I kind of feel like you kind of have to be like that when you put out stuff. Like, you know what? I like it. And I hope you like it too. Because that's really what it is. It's kind of luck of the draw. There's songs that you probably never thought people would like.
Yeah, it's like personal, and you're like,
yeah, it's a personal thing.
Yeah,
you put this stuff out, and it's like you wrote it, and it's like this personal thing, and then you just give it to people, and you're like, okay, I hope you like it. If you don't say so because you hurt my feelings.
Right. But you're not. You're supposed to have a tough skin, right? You're supposed to not let it hurt your feelings. That's so often we're told, have a tough skin. Well, come on. How are you supposed to be sensitive and to be loving and put your heart into stuff if you have a tough skin, right? So that's just what I think.
Like, it's kind of like when you because your music is like your baby, and I have an actual baby, but if someone were to say they didn't like him, I'd be ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of the same, but like it's like, oh, that hurts my feelings because I love it so much, and I want you to love it so much. And when you don't love it so much, it makes me feel like I don't understand. So I do relatively have a tough skin, but it's still it's still kind of like It doesn't completely knock me off my game, but it's still kind of like okay, cool.
Yeah.
Everyone's not gonna love it. You gotta have to just kind of let those feelings pass through, but it definitely still hurts. Artists are humans with feelings.
Right. Quirky bunch for a sensitive bunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited that you're going through with the song, adding more to the EP, and I'll be looking out in March and April. And where are you going to release it? Is this going to be a CD baby? What do you use to release your music?
Everyone is saying now that I should do the Bandcamp thing or the CD baby thing. I don't know. I haven't decided. We have a couple of people who offered like some product distribution deals. I don't know. Kind of still in the talks there.
And there's also United Masters,
which
is a contender too.
Right, which I just heard about.
They're cool. They're the new kids on the block, and they're very hip, and they do a lot for promotion. They do like a whole analytics campaign that they target ads for you specifically, which is nice.
See, I just learned of them literally last week, and so that was another new thing you just told me. So there you go. See what I'm saying? Indie journey. So I don't know.
There you go. And there isn't one person.
There's
not one Google or one Amazon. There's a whole bunch of them to choose from that are all kind of in the market, which is nice. So.
Right. Yeah. And depending on your art, one may fit you better than the other. It just depends. So,
yeah. Well, in any event, I'll be looking out for it. And so more with Shantae, any other collaboration, any other big names or artists or anyone else you're working with?
I hope so. I do feel like I'm going to have at least one or two more collaborations on this album. I just don't know on which songs, but I feel like at least on one or two, maybe a male, maybe Shantae, or maybe another female vocalist that I have a bunch that I really, really love. That I would love to have on. I'm a fan of Alex Isley. I'm a big fan of hers. Love her voice. I'm a huge fan of Gregory Porter. I'm a huge fan of Masego, which is like kind of the jazz hip hop thing. So I don't know. We're gonna try. We'll just see what we come up with. I kind of have to wait until the songs are fully finished, and then I feel like, okay, this person needs to be on that. It's kind of how it goes with me. Like once it's finished, like okay, this needs a this before it's done. Or it's like done. That moment. It doesn't need anything. Or this needs a this, and then it will be done, type of thing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. Well, I am looking forward to it, and I'm really excited to hear your music, and if you're anything like me, you're probably dying to get back on a stage, right?
Man, cannot wait.
Yes,
cannot wait.
Crazy. Were you doing like a tour, or
I always say like I was planning to when in the rain, like Shantae and I were talking about doing a duo, and then COVID hit, and it was like, okay, well, guess not.
Not
right now, at least.
Yeah, we've all really had to pack our patience.
Definitely, hopefully, by the time. Yeah, I think I was saying to a friend of mine, like, at least we know that when live shows happen, they're going to be packed and people are going to be insane for the year or two. Because they've been out there for so long, they're going to be
crazy,
itching to get, totally. So that's the only, like, the light I see is like, but when it does happen, it's going to be great. Like, musicians are going to be doing some of their best playing because they haven't been able to really play it so long, like, it's going to be great.
And all this pent up emotion and all these messages and lyrics are gonna come spilling out of us. All this
absolutely
energy.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. Cool. Well, hey, I don't think we have any comments. I know some people, Gerhard said hello, and thanks for trying out StreamYard with me. This is cool.
Of course. This is cool. I like it.
Cool. I like it. I think I'll stick with it. Let me do a little logo. It's nice. There's a little glitch.
Yeah, let you do a whole little combo. And
we can do a little split screen. We can do this screen, that screen.
It's cool. I like it.
That screen. Yeah.
It's one of the most interesting like online interviews I've done. Yeah, I like it. It's cool.
It's cool. Good.
I'm with it.
I really appreciate you being on Hannah's Corner and taking some time again to chat about, hey, everything that's going on.
Absolutely.
Your creativity, your work, and I love your sound, and we need more artists like you who are like busting through genre walls.
Thank you.
Honestly. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That really does help a lot, because when you hear that, you're like, okay, so there are people who get it.
Oh, I'm one of them. I'm one of the ones that I'm stymieing people like, what's your sound? What's your story? Like what? Right? I'm confusing people. So maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So thanks. When you said that, it helps a lot, because like I said, the whole time you're like, I wonder if people actually get it. Or if I'm just in my brain and nobody gets it.
No, or else people wouldn't be grooving out to it and jamming. They're not thinking.
That's true.
Not thinking. They're thinking from here and from
true.
Their soul. They're not thinking.
That's true.
So.
Right. That's true. That's valid.
Very much so. Cool. Well, hey, have a great night. Thanks for joining us. And
thank you too, Hannah.
It would be fun one day to maybe collaborate. Maybe we can work on something together.
Absolutely.
On the road.
Let's do it. We
do
got
it.
the time. Let's do it, man.
Make it happen. Cool. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much again. Thanks so much, listeners, for tuning in now and after. And check out Ashleigh Smith. TheAshleighSmith.com. In the Rain, his latest EP, and expect more from her early 2021.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, have a great evening. It's a little earlier there for you over in Texas, right?
You too.
So have a
a little earlier here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much,
you so
Ashleigh.
much. You too, Hannah.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.